Hello and welcome to the Watch Express series. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but it's time to get back into action. It's your host, Sammy Thunder, here today to talk about and provide to you my insights on the SPB499, a Seiko release from in the Craftsmanship series. And here we have the watch here. It is a Urushi dial Seiko Presage. In a nutshell, it is a no-date complication watch, but features a 24-hour sub-second or sub-dial, and it is center seconds. So it's a beautiful looking watch, and it's currently priced at 2,600 Australian dollars. It is a new release from Seiko that is reusing an existing case, but now with a new dial of the Urushi lacquer. I really like the choice of going for an all gilt approach, or all gilt on the numerals, the Roman numerals, the railroad tracks, the handsets. It pairs really well with the Urushi black lacquer, which is an extremely deep glossy black. It is actually a very beautiful watch. Look, standard affair with Seiko, except Seiko in the recent times have started to make their watches slightly thinner. So this watch here is 12.1 mils thick, and it's a 40 mil watch with a 48 lug to lug, so it's fairly compact in size. It does feature a 6R 5H movement. I guess this movement is a movement that the main thing about it, as you can see in the dial, is the automatic 3 days. Is the main thing that they're trying to boast now with their movements, is that they now feature 72 hours of power reserve, and they really want to emphasize that in their dials. I do think it's a detail that probably doesn't need to be in a dress watch like this, so that's something to note. Nonetheless, it's a really beautiful watch for what it is. Obviously, standard affair, the precision of a 6R movement is plus 25 to minus 15 seconds per day. Hopefully you win the luck of the lottery and you get something that's good and not too bad. So this is the watch in a nutshell. So for more pictures, like the Urushi dial, like the standard press photos from Seiko will not do the watch justice, and if you look at the pictures, from Fratello, look at this. It really is a beautiful watch, and I think one of the biggest gripes I have with Seiko is that they managed to do such a terrific job with the watch, but then, in my opinion, they falter a little bit. I don't seem to see why they need this 24-hour track. It really serves no purpose, especially that the fact that this watch is also a no-date watch. So maybe you could use the 24-hour indicator to help you know when to accurately change the date, so you don't damage the movement, because there is a period of time where it's recommended not to change the date. So yes, I could use the 24-hour indicator for that. In this case, I honestly don't see what it provides to me in this watch. Ideally, this watch would be perfect if it was just a simple sub-seconds function, but what we have here is a center seconds with the 24-hour track. Look, at the end of the day, yes, it's a function. It personally, to me, is obsolete. There might be some customers. This watch initially was tailored to the Japan domestic market. Many Seiko Presages, it is a iconic Seiko thing to have a 24-hour indicator and sometimes the power reserve. So I understand why the move is there. They're still keeping it, but at the same time, I think they need to update their movements, provide to your customers a sub-seconds function, because there are many good-looking Presage watches out there, but it really just falls short when we have something like a 24-hour indicator. Even if this was just a date indicator, it would have been really good. At least there's something useful there. But nonetheless, that's one of my gripes. The watch itself is beautiful, and you can kind of see on the seconds hand, on the minute and hour hand, is that they've tried to replicate this marquee technique, which is usually a technique on very high-end Urushi lacquer objects, pottery and things like that, where they sprinkled actual gold. Obviously this is not the case, or else the watch would be priced at around $10,000-$20,000, but they're trying to bring that effect into the handset, and I really appreciate what they've done. I really like that powdered effect, and you can look at how inky black and glossy the dial is, and how the depreciations, within these handsets, as the dial slopes towards a void. I really appreciate that touch. It's like an inky glossy black and something special, so you get a touch of hand craftsmanship with an Urushi lacquer dial. It looks great. I mean, it's a good looking watch nonetheless. There are many different versions of similar watches in the past from Seiko with Urushi lacquer, but they would use a white texting, so white Roman numerals, whereas this here is the first time I've seen them go for a full gilt look, and I think it looks pretty good. I think they've done a banger job. I think the thickness is reasonable for what it is. Personally speaking, if there's one thing Seiko could do, I would personally just remove the automatic 3 days texting. I understand they need to do it, so look, even if they don't do it, it won't be a bother. I would just like to have a more useful function of the watch, or a complete elimination of this 24-hour indicator, because to me it doesn't make sense. I'd prefer just the standard 3-hand watch, no date, if that's possible. But look, nonetheless, it's a very beautiful looking watch. It's priced at $2,600, and look, at the end of the day, I think $2,600 is quite a lot of money. These are still mass-produced watches, but yes, there's an added touch of slight hand craftsmanship to the dial with the Urushi dial manufacturing, the lacquering process. So that's good, and Seiko is one of the brands that offer it. $2,600, steep price to ask sometimes, but look, it really depends on what you're looking at trying to get. Are you trying to get a traditional dress piece and you're considering the Seiko, or you could also look at Longines that provide excellent value for money, excellent timepieces like the engraved Master Collection watches that feature a nice silver dial, or a nice, very contemporary design in dress piece. So that's there. You're probably going to get better accuracy from the Swiss, no doubt. With Seiko, you're pretty much running a lottery ticket on accuracy. Personally speaking, I don't care much about the accuracy, because look, I'm not trying to daily wear this watch. I have a rotation, so it is a slightly forgivable from an enthusiast point of view. And the third thing to note is that you can get discounts on these Seikos, easily 22 to 40% off. Really depends. I really think that they are slowly reaching towards a design maturity, but Seiko is still far from it at this point in time, and I'm hoping that watches from the craftsmanship Presage series get better towards that. Obviously, there are certain things that you can't do with Seiko, because it's a Seiko. It's not a Grand Seiko, it's not a Crador, and there are limitations in what they can offer. One is the lack of movement regulation. That is one of the main things. But nonetheless, this is my insights, or this is the Watch Express on the SPB499, the Seiko Presage craftsmanship series that features a beautiful Urushi dial. Thanks for watching. It's a sense of time. Peace.